From WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of ParksCenter. Joining me on tonight's show, we have Allison.
Hey, everyone.
Jill.
Hello.
Nathan.
Greetings from the Sunshine State.
And Pete.
Sivako from New York City.
Welcome home.
Oh, it's cold in New York.
All right, so kicking off tonight's show, we have a topic on two new babies. One of which is coming from one of our staff members, Allison. I believe this one is yours.
That indeed.
That fell from a giraffe.
Congratulations.
That's my daughter Avon, and she is 6 days old today.
Aw.
Oh, they grow up so fast.
That's
WWNT, the baby.
yeah. There we go.
Oh,
Let us know when she can be a panelist. All right.
Soon. She's very advanced.
Nice. Does she have a favorite park yet? No.
which will come faster, Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster or her being a panelist? Setting the over under now.
Absolutely the latter.
There it is. Yep. The other baby though, that's more, I guess, a little bit more Disney. I mean, I don't think you had your baby on Disney property, so this is still kind of noteworthy.
Not
here.
in front of a
More
safari
relevant.
car.
Gosh, in front of a lot of safaris. So one of the giraffes on Kilimanjaro Safaris went into labor January 14th, just a couple days ago.
These Instagram models are getting out of control.
That's for the record. The giraffe went into labor earlier than expected. Everybody's doing fine now. The reason that the giraffe was not backstage when this was happening was because it was completely unexpected. They tried to coerce her backstage, but they didn't want to stress her out and cause problems, so they just let it happen where it was going to happen.
Everyone's fine except for the 6-year-old that thinks giraffes have 8 legs now.
Yeah. Let's go to teach him young. Two things. Thing one, this proves why Animal Kingdom is the greatest, because these things can't happen at any other Disney park. And it's unique. And what I love is that they just let it happen, and it's a really beautiful thing. I feel like it's been a real season for giraffe babies, too. There's been several. Thing two, Allison, correct me if I'm wrong about this. If you would have been on the show last week, you would have been in labor, correct?
That's correct.
Is that accurate?
Yes,
So,
I was contracting every 12 minutes.
You could have almost been exactly like the giraffe. You were real close to it. But,
Right.
We were able
and
to
that
get her
thought crossed
backstage
my
in time.
mind.
yeah.
Because
For
my
the click, Allison.
embarrassment, I was like, I don't want people to see my face while I'm in this pain. And then I went to the hospital and I saw that like my husband's coworkers were there because somebody else we knew was having a baby at the same time. And they saw us walk in and they're like, oh, that's John's wife. And everyone stared at me. And I was just like, this is terrible. It can't happen. John, go over there and tell them to stop looking at me. So as soon as I saw that the giraffe was doing this with like everyone going by in Kilimanjaro Safaris, I was like, oh, I have a lot of empathy. But then I learned that her labor was only 2 hours, and all empathy is gone, and now I'm very jealous.
We got that way.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
True.
So you would rather be in labor for 2 hours with a lot of trucks passing by and people photographing instead of the alternative?
27 hours in private, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds
I
fair.
agree.
I think that was a movie.
I would do that televised for 2 hours over 27 hours.
Keep it only
in
for
private.
Well,
2
Toys
hours.
for Tots, Toys for Tots next year. Just figure it out.
Well, I mean, if they
Didn't
televise it,
Franco
it can't
do
go
a
more
movie?
than 2 hours. People would stop watching. That's the.
That's true.
It's true.
Anyway,
Franco won like an
All right.
Oscar for 127 hours. Anyway, let's talk about Jack and Jill.
Agreed. Hey, Jill.
Because that
Do
made me
you know
Jill.
Jack?
If I had $1 for every time someone had said that joke to me,
I mean, it's
upon
just such an
meeting me,
easy joke.
Better
So
than calling you
I
the
would
alternative for this story, though, right?
I mean, we could be making worse jokes, I suppose.
much.
You would think that these two would have been a part of the VI.
The
pass
VIPs,
holder
yeah.
event.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, that would be the
Yeah.
handlers.
Oh,
Right.
got it. You're
See,
right.
they're
You're right. You're right.
they are the very important holders of these donkeys.
All
yes.
right, so let's get. I cut you off. Let's get the background on this story here.
So this
I
is
can comment.
Jack, and this is Jill, not the human, the
Hello.
donkey. And they are donkeys that have been at Disney's Animal Kingdom ever since the park opened in '98. They're 22
They are
years
21 years old, or 22, right?
22.
The park's been open for 21 years. This
What
year.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
give to be 22 years old.
And so
With 4 legs.
these
in
these
Disney.
donkeys are wandering around through Africa. That eventually they're gonna. The goal is to be getting to the cotton top tamarins on Discovery Island, as kind of a reference to how donkeys in Colombia help in the replanting of forests where these cotton tops are. So it's kind of this cool educational thing. You can see them walking around. You can pet the donkeys. It's pretty cool. I'm glad they're putting stuff in like this. We can't have walk around characters, but we can have walk around animals apparently. So
That's cool. I'll take it. It's pretty nifty. I'm sad
real
that
thing.
there's no Rafiki's Planet Watch for them. I mean, that's where they're hanging normally. I'm guessing on their off time. But
I'd assume, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I hope that they do this. There's other things. I mean, goats are probably a little less manageable, but they got to decide what they want to do with them because they're just hanging out back there. And they probably don't care either way. But Disney has this history of having animals and trying to determine what to do with them when things change. Do they send them to somewhere else or a different farm or a different petting zoo, or do they move into a different area? So I hope all these. One way for us to know if Rafiki's Planet Watch is a no more forever is if we start seeing these animals really get placed in different areas for good, opposed to just wandering around with handlers right now. So keep an eye out for that. Who knows?
See, I kind
think
of wish they
actually
started this
that-
sooner. Go ahead, Allison.
I was just going to say, I think more people might see this than saw Rafiki's Planet Watch because they're out and about. Go ahead, Pete.
No, I was going to say, I wish they started this sooner because it's really cool. I mean, if they would have been around and if someone's been going to Rafiki's Planet Watch, even better for many years. But I think it would be cool to have an interactive space with animals that have been there since the park opened. So let's say you visit once every 2 to 3 years. You get to see how the donkeys have grown and go say hi to Jack and Jill, almost like how you go and check in with certain spots or restaurants or cast members. It would be cool where you could check in with these animals and see how they've grown and changed and aged. And if you have young children, say, 20 years ago when I was your age 20 years ago when I met these Jack and Jill, and now you're petting them. It's kind of cool. I hope more stuff like that happens is all I was going to say.
Yeah. Good to see these folks are roaming around.
These folks. I like that in the story you just said, this is Jack, this is Jill. They are donkeys. As if no one knew that they were donkeys.
No, we needed to clarify.
What
That's not the name of the handlers. That's
journalism.
What are those
for you.
mini
Yeah,
horses?
sure.
It's a giraffe. No.
I think the term is donks, actually, for a miniature donkey. But
That's a poker term. Look at these donks. Yeah.
Gosh.
Anyway, let's keep it going.
Anyway,
moving
next topic.
to the other coast here. Going to a rare Disneyland story on this show. We have some more details that have been released about Mickey's Mix Magic, the nighttime show coming to Disneyland relatively soon. And we have the opening theme for this, along with the details of what songs are going to be in this show. So it's going to be a 10-minute show featuring projections on the what do they call it? The Small World facade. There's going to be projections on Rivers of America as well, and you can see the track list here. It's really an interesting mix of stuff. The It's a Good Time is a new original track. You can find that on iTunes now if you want to go and have a listen for yourself. I really like that they've got Everybody Wants to Be a Cat on here. I think that's such a neat addition.
I love that. And it gives
So-
me hope that there will be some Aristocats projections happening in the context of the show, which I think would be amazing.
So.
And I really like the idea that it's taking place out, like, it's not a castle show. It's happening on Small World, Rivers of America. You're going to get a nighttime show in a different area of the park than what I think a lot of people are used to seeing at Disneyland, and I think that's going to be awesome.
Is this a single show or continuous, like what they do on Tower of Terror? Do we know? I
think it's a single show.
Okay.
Because I think this is replacing their nighttime stuff. Because when it first came out, so I'm going to Disneyland in February, and it's my girlfriend's first time. I was super pumped to hear that this was coming out. We were going to be like, it was only be like a month in. They could work out the kinks. It'd be awesome. But now it's so funny because when they first put out the article, I thought you would think projection show on the castle, and now there's these giant walls up and green screens around the outside. To find out, the castle will be boxed in while I'm there, and this is just going to be on Main Street USA, Small World, and over by Rivers of America. Super upsetting. I'm excited for the show, but it seems like this show is to kind of distract people from, you don't have a castle anymore, which is so upsetting. But I'm excited about this. This is also, I don't think it's a big secret. I own a DJ company in New York, and I've DJed for many years. I like that they're kind of blending in the electronic music because now they're doing this at all the dance parties almost everywhere in Walt Disney World. So it'll be cool to see like how they blend in that upbeat, energetic music with Disney classics. So I'm excited about that. And it's another projection, so I'm not too excited about it. But we'll see. I hope the music's good. Some more projections. Ugh.
Well, it's nice to know that Disney... Oh, go ahead, Jill.
I was just going to say, I'll be interested to see if these are the straight tracks from the movies, if these are sort of remixes or somehow electronic versions.
They're supposed to be remixes. That was
right,
the original
and I think it's interesting
report.
that they're picking songs like Everybody Wants to Be a Cat to do a remix to. You know, they're picking some songs from some older movies that I don't think people would traditionally think lend themselves to that. So I think it's going to, I'm hopeful that this is going to be really creative and really fun.
I think so too, and I think they're also going to pull cats from several movies. I forgot to say that earlier, but I mean, obviously, like Alice in Wonderland and the Aristocrats. I think there's a lot of cool cats in a lot of cool cats in a lot of movies.
So many cool cats.
Yeah. Sorry for some of the camera issues there, folks. I'm trying to also help with some folks who are having difficulty with our live stream tonight, but hopefully folks will be able to watch it afterwards, so thank you for doing so if you're watching. All right, so transitioning away from California back over to the Magic Kingdom. We've got Halloween already. We just had Christmas. Why do we no? Stop this.
We still have Christmas.
We do. Yeah, it's still there.
Ridiculous. I'll let you.
Hold on, Pete. Go for it here.
All right. First of all, I'm cutting you off from telling the story. So here's the story. Disney is already. You could already right now, January 15th, buy your tickets for the Halloween party at Magic Kingdom for 2019, which is absurd because the Christmas decorations and the music loops are still playing in Disney's Animal Kingdom and at Disney's Hollywood Studios, which is a little absurd. I am not a Grinch. Everyone on this show knows I am the Disney praiser, and I love all things Disney does. But it's too long. They started these music loops literally November 1st in most of the parks. It is now the 15th. We are 3 weeks past Christmas. Why? I was there last week. I walk into Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. The trees are up, the decorations are up, the music loops are up. I get leaving it up a little longer for people to see it, but this is absurd. It's been up since November 1st, and now with Christmas decorations still up, you want to sell Halloween tickets. It's just a little crazy. Like, unless you're offering them as part of a package or an early bird special, like half-price tickets until April, that way you're locking people in, I would get it. But just to open up ticket sales this early, it's obviously a grab, and I noticed this with a friend of mine when I met with them last night. People think Star Wars Land is going to be opening if they don't do their research or read our site regularly. So this is trying to get people to buy their tickets now, lock all these tickets in. They're not refundable, and they're not transferable. So you buy all these tickets, and all of a sudden you go, oh, wait, now we can't change our vacation. We're going for the Halloween party, even though Star Wars will not be up and running until December. It's just a money grab. They're trying to get people into the parks as much as possible, hence the free dining during the summer at Walt Disney World. They want as many people there before. I mean, to try and fill the parks, because everyone who was planning a vacation is going to wait till Star Wars opens. Unless you're us.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Allison.
I disagree a little bit. So they should have the Christmas decorations down. I agree. That's ridiculous. And maybe they could wait another month or so before they open up tickets for the Halloween party. But I actually like that they're giving the dates and telling us when they are, because I often plan my trip around dining reservations, and I make those 180 days in advance. So that's 6-month lead time. And I'm guessing, based on previous years and the dates, when party nights are. But that's really hard to know so far in advance. So with the way people have to plan their trips, if you want to eat at a certain place and go do certain things, it's nice to know way ahead of time. That said, starting the Halloween party earlier and earlier every year is getting a little ridiculous. But if they are going to start it, let's at least have the dates and offer the tickets 6 months.
I do agree. You make a good point that if you're going to plan your dining 6 months out, you should have the same amount of planning for all events and everything that's happening 6 months out.
Yeah.
And I'm going through that now. There's still not even park hours posted for Disneyland, and I'm going in a month, which is so frustrating. I don't even know the hours of the park. It's like, how do they not tell people this? Anyway.
Yeah, that's a little frightening.
Yeah, no, I'm leaning more
go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to say I'm leaning more towards Pete's side, because the other element of this story is that AP and DVC discounts have been significantly reduced for the Halloween party this year. You only get $5 off, which is like, why even bother?
Yeah.
Other than, okay, we're giving you $5 because we know you're going to rage if we take away the discount altogether. So like everything else these days, I lean towards because money being the reason for this change.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, because they can get away with it. Or at least they think they can. We'll find out. But things that they're doing to not spit in the face of APs. Hey, look at that. They've been giving stuff away. Like this. Look at this Look at that magnet. I love that. That's so good. So this is for the Festival of the Arts coming up on January 18th. So that's going to be the Friday after this show airs. You'll be able to pick this up. Just stop by Mouse Gear or Porta Entry and show your annual pass and photo ID, and you can pick that up. You'll also get discounts on the Festival of the Arts Magic Band, plus some other Figment goodies. And there's also going to be an exclusive Figment cookie available at Taste Track, which I believe is that little food cart outside of Test Track. But look at this
it's
stuff.
Like they finally
that's
figured
so
out
classy.
It's like they figured out we like Figment or something. Like, not that they haven't had Figment stuff in the past, but
to be fair, that could
I would take
really
I would take a year of no Figment anything just for them to save money, or take all the Figment merchandise money and fix the ride. Just fix them.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Well, that's what
it's
I was
like
going to say.
Fundraiser.
They're putting Figment on everything. He's on everything,
and people will give them money.
Yeah,
he's
the thing
on
is
everything.
It's bittersweet that this is happening at all, and I'm happy that it's. I love when they use Figment because that's what he's there for, but it's always bittersweet because it's like, man, we all like him for the reason but not the thing that he's here for, and it's so strange. That the marketing brain of Disney has said, this sells, and they use it, but they don't get the idea that, if you did the ride again, we would show up too. If you had a walk around character during Festival of the Arts of Figment, we'd show up too.
Oh, in fact, wouldn't we?
Yeah, and it's not like it hasn't been happened before, so but they've dropped the ball in the past too. On the 35th, I thought maybe Dreamfinder would show up with a puppet Figment. And lo and behold, of course not. Why would they do such a thing? And it's like when they have these moments where they feel like, oh, well, this is an easy get, or we can sell this, or let's slap him on for the festival. They do it, and it stinks because it's like he's a slave doing the same dance all the time. And,
well, it's like,
just
I was going to say that, like,
off it. It's a terrible dance.
For anyone going to the parks, or for anyone listening to this, if you're 18 or under, it's Figment the merchandise dragon. That's all he is.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, right. They don't know.
That farts at you on a ride. Yeah.
I would also strongly recommend that annual pass holders who want this merchandise get it fast, because at Festival of the Holidays, the AP merchandise was gone by December 2nd.
Yup.
I went to every store in Epcot on December 2nd, and there was not a stitch of pass holder merchandise left. So if you want to get it quick, because I'm guessing that this will probably be the same way.
Yeah.
I will believe that very readily. And in case you decide to buy all of those things and charge them to the room, beware that you might see some different charges showing up on your credit card. So Disney has changed the way that they're handling charges towards to hotel rooms going forward. Previously, Disney would put a hold on your card when you first checked into the hotel to cover the entire length of the stay that was planned, plus I think it was about $100. Yeah, $100 for incidental expenses. And under the new system, if you now exceed that $100 in incidental expenses while you're there, like say go out to dinner twice or once, depending on where it is,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
they will add a new hold on top of the old one for the amount that your total stay is going to be now, plus another $100 buffer. And this will continue compounding over the entire duration of your stay until you check out, where at that point all of the holds will resolve themselves into an actual charge for the actual amount that you owe, and everything will be taken care of at that point. But it is worthwhile to note that during your stay, your credit card will have essentially $100 more than what it should locked up on it. And if you try and charge more than that, your card will bounce and you'll get declined. So beware.
I don't know.
Enjoy
I don't
alerts.
know. I don't
new
know.
alerts on your phone too that they're telling you.
You get the alerts.
Yeah.
I don't mind this at all. I don't know if it bounces because it's been. I mean, I think they started it with me last week. It doesn't bounce. They just give you another 100 comes off on your credit card. So let's say you spend, because I mean, obviously most people, if you're in the parks and you're eating and buying merchandise on your Magic Band, you're spending more than $100 a day. I think this is smart on Disney's part because maybe people, I mean, it's probably genius because people aren't realizing how much they're spending, and then their credit card doesn't work at the end of the week when they're spending that $300 to $800 a day, depending how big your family is.
Yeah.
So it creeps up quick after a 7-day vacation. It's like, oh, I have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in charges. So I think this is smart for them to kind of like recoup. So that way they're not saying, okay, now you have a bill for $5,000, your card only held $3,000. What are we doing about this $2,000?
Yeah.
As a business, this is what they should have been doing all along. It's not. I don't think this hurts anyone. And honestly, if you can't afford a certain amount or your credit card cuts off at a certain amount, that's a good thing. You're spending less than what you should. So it's a good thing all around as a business, and also I think it helps the customer as well and the consumer. So I'm okay with it.
It's logistical, and I wonder what conversations Disney's had with credit card companies about this. I mean, clearly purchases at Disney are something credit card companies are interested in because there's a lot of them, and so I'm sure they've had conversations about that kind of stuff as well. So, yeah, I agree with Pete. It's a logistical sort of thing. I don't think it's bad. I think it's just new and you need to be aware of it, and that's why we're here. So,
and this has definitely got to have come from at some point in time that they've tried to charge somebody for all of the charges that they had on their room and everything like that, and it just bounces back, and they say, I can't make that charge. And then Disney's out all this money and has not an easy way to claw it back.
Oh, Disney's not out that money. They're going to get it. It just then they become the bad guys that have to put something out against you or find a collection agency or go to the credit card. They become the bad guys at that point. So to keep the Disney magic alive, we're going to take your money in advance and then you can pay it, work it off.
Debt collection is done by Peg Leg Pete, by the way, at Disney. That's how that rolls.
No. There's no Pete involved with debt collection. We give money away.
And I guess that brings us to our final story for the night. We made a post today that I think we need to talk about, and this is probably going to dominate most of the post show tonight. We made a post, the Walt Disney World Maintenance Report, which is going to be a series of weekly reports where we list everything that's broken. This list goes on for a ways.
That we can confirm. Of course.
Yeah, that we can confirm, either with video or photographic evidence.
Let me just say, while you scroll through all this, this is a post that I was very afraid to read. People, I mean, listen, even before I worked here, I thought WWNT is great because it gives you the most comprehensive news across the board, for better or for worse. They're not bought. If it's not good, we'll tell you it's not good. If it's great, we'll tell you it's great. And there are certain staff members and other people that may tend to lean in a more negative direction because they remember the glory days or everything was cheaper back in the day, yada, yada, yada. I have to say that this article, although, yes, you would say everything needs to be fixed and that's broken, sounds very negative. The introduction in this story, the first few paragraphs were written extremely well by Tom.
Yes.
Because this is not to say we hate Disney. This is just saying, hey, we love Disney. We love everything that works. We love when everything's working. It's a perfect, beautiful experience. And I agree with it because now I had taken family members this week, and it's so unfortunate when they don't get to see everything in its full, beautiful glory. Well, just the way it was intended to be by the Imagineers. And that's a real shame. So although many will look at this as another negative article, it's not. It's just saying, hey, this is where you're dropping the ball. Let's pick it up and let's make Disney as magical as it should be. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, a big highlight from that opening paragraph section is that we talk about there will be a fixed section that gets added to the report starting next week, where we'll say this was on the report last week and they took care of it. Like we're gonna praise all of the things that are getting fixed as well. And if we start seeing this list like just shrink rapidly, like that's terrific. Like hopefully we'll be making these posts in years to come, and there will be nothing on them, and it'll just be like it's great.
If we were a magazine or a newspaper that did exclusive coverage on trains, we would have a section probably about trains that are having problems, right? If you have an airport magazine, not in an airport, but if you run an industry magazine about an airport, you're going to talk about issues airports are having. These are people come to Disney to see these rides the way they're supposed to be ridden, not in these sort of haphazard ways. And don't even get me started on Toy Story Land. It's 6 months old and it looks like, like such a mess.
Good grief.
And if there's, for me at least, if there's any instigation or if there's any reason we instigated this, it's probably because of Toy Story Land. I think we all can agree, like, it's complex to fix the Yeti. Yes, he's on the list, but we get it. Like, it's a massive overhaul. Broken chairs or scratch tables, those are different. Those are little things I know they can paint, and it's not. And again, I'm speaking for myself here, but I don't see this as anything against the workers or the Imagineers or anybody. They don't have the purse strings. They probably are going crazy wanting to fix this stuff, and it's because they're not given the budget to do it. So this is not a negative towards the creatives of Disney. This is the negative towards the operations of Disney. And I've spoke for Dreamfinders, slight plug, with former operations managers for Disney, and they're kind of like, things are different now, and that's not what they're not saying that positively, okay? Yeah. And that's because operations probably is not given the money they deserve to do what they need to do. So this is not about hating on anything. This is about expecting the best out of it, because that's what it should be, and allowing those who love their jobs to do their jobs, which Disney is not doing right now, even though they have like 1,000 Marvel movies coming out a week to pay for small countries. So
no, but you're right. What would it cost to have someone go out and spot touch the paint? Or we're going over on this, but what would it cost to someone to spot touch the paint? Like overnight, they claim that all these people are out fixing the park every night. It's a 24/7, 365 operation. But like, these are simple fixes. These are paint. This is like legit. You paying someone, even if you paid them $20 an hour for 5 hours, $100. $100. You can go fix all of Toy Story Land's paint issues in one night, and then go to the next.
Pete will do it.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
I'll be right there. I'll help you.
I was in construction and painting for many years. I will be happy to go out. You can give me the $20 an hour and give me the keys overnight. I'll make sure that place looks beautiful in the morning.
Me, Sherwin-Williams, we got it. It's good to go.
Right. And the other thing is, like, take the fact that this is Disney World out of it. There is nothing wrong with consumers which at the end of the day is what we all are.
Yeah.
We are consumers of a product. And if we find the product subpar and that we're not getting the value for our money we expect, there is nothing wrong with consumers saying this is unacceptable. And that's what this is. I mean, that's what the media does, is they hold people accountable for basically trying to pull one over on people. And
it's not like Disney is lowering prices and saying, well, we don't have the, like, there's no
Six Flags has better paintwork. Six Flags, all the tables are painted. And this is like, I'm the one who promotes, I'm Mr. Disney, and everyone knows that. I'm saying Disney puts everything over the top. They make it, every experience is magical. And now these are the little things that are starting to bother me over the last year or so. And granted, they're doing a lot of good things, but it's just the little things. These are so simple to fix. Yeah. It's less than one person for one day. It's less for a child. A child one day at Epcot costs less than fixing the paint.
To put this in perspective, when Curious George at Universal looks like a better splash pad area than Casey's, like, that's a problem, okay? So fix it.
I don't think things are as they've been in the worst of times. Like, this is not the Pressler era. Like, I think things are a lot better, but I really hope that this running list keeps it from becoming that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and on that note, we are going to end this for the night, except for our post-show, which is exclusive for our Wix members. So if you are a Wix member, stay tuned to the feed you're already watching, I believe, and we will be back momentarily to talk more, presumably, about whatever you want, but I think we're going to start off by talking
and you can
some
watch
more
old
about
shows.
This stuff.
You can watch old shows, too. So if you're not a Wix member, join and then come back and watch it.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Check it out.
And if you're not a Wix member, don't forget, tomorrow's Walt Disney World News Tonight, which is exciting stuff.
Yep. You can head on over to patreon.com/WDWNT if you are not already a Wix member, and join our Patreon over there for as little as $2 a month. Get access to all sorts of great post shows, all the entire podcast backlog, tons of great stuff. Go check that out. Also, here's a bunch of other wonderful WDWNT original programs you may not know about that you should also go and check out.
Dreamfinders is WDW News Today's podcast all about the creative culture surrounding Disney parks. Curious what it's like to read poetry about the Haunted Mansion? Well, we've talked to someone who has. How about what it takes to actually build a Disney castle? We've chatted with a guy who did just that. Authors, Imagineers, dancers, actors, photographers, filmmakers, and a whole lot more have all stopped by to chat about how Disney has inspired their artistic work. Dreamfinders. Episodes drop every other Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcatcher.
Ride Rehab is the podcast of ridiculously reskinning, refurbishing, and even removing Disney attractions, shows, areas, and parks. Can we cram Star Wars or Marvel into anything else? Just listen and find out. Visit riderehab.com to start listening now. That's riderehab.com.
WDWNT Nerd Alert is the podcast that encompasses all things Marvel and Star Wars in a fun and entertaining format. On each episode, we take a look at the latest news, provide reviews for the latest feature films, inform you about what is going on in the comic book world, and discuss and debate original topics pertaining to the worlds of Marvel, Star Wars, and beyond. Find us on various podcast applications by searching for WDWNT Nerd Alert.
The WDW News Today podcast is the one that started them all. Join us for comprehensive history segments, heated debates, epic countdowns, and more from the Disney theme parks around the globe. Just search for WDW News Today in whatever podcast service you choose.
Last but certainly not least is WDWNT's premiere show, WDW News Tonight. Join us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. for a live, weekly audio and video show that combines the latest headlines, comedy, trending vacation topics, call-in games, and in-depth discussions to bring Disney fans a one-of-a-kind 2-hour program covering the Disney parks. If you can't catch the show live, you can always watch it later on YouTube or listen to it through your desired podcast service.
Alrighty, folks, and that is going to do it for this week's show. Thank you, folks, for joining us. Again, if you're watching live and you're a Wix member, stay tuned for that post show. Otherwise, we will see you next week.